everyone, and welcome to Sunday Supper. We are once again featuring mountain flavors tonight, specifically featuring those from the Sugarloaf and Rangeley area. We have a lot to cover. We have wine, we have cocktails, and I am joined here by Chefs Kerry and Chef Ciana, who we will get to shortly, with an appetizer, a main dish, a side, and a dessert coming your way. So this is the time to strap on those aprons, get out your ingredients for whatever you're cooking along with us tonight, and let's remind ourselves why we're all here, and then we will be right back to get started.
We can save the jobs by saving the businesses. That's our mission.
What's important about ReUp and the Sunday Supper is it brings a community of some of my favorite chefs together where we can all focus on trying to get some stimulus to the whole industry.
The reality is, for restaurants, we are in a situation where the unknown is what's really frightening.
Help us survive. We'll be here for you.
And welcome back to our studio here in Portland. Again, folks, we are here to support the Maine Restaurant Relief Fund. You can go to tastemaine.com to donate to that fund. Time is running out. Help these restaurants get through the winter. And like I said, we have a lot to get through. So without further ado, I'm going to throw it right over to our chefs, but quick to let you know, as everyone knows at home, things have changed COVID-wise in Maine. Cases are climbing, so we are all going to remain safe tonight, and we hope that you are at home are being safe as well with your loved ones. But let's throw it over. We've got some cooking to do. Again, get out those ingredients, and let's throw it over to Chef Kerry Altiero of Cafe Miranda in Rockland and Chef Ciana Godin of Alice and Lulu's Mountainside in Sugarloaf, Carrabassett Valley. Welcome, chefs.
Thank you, Sarah Taylor.
Welcome. We've got a lot to cover. So let's jump right into it, right?
Okay,
Tell us what we're cooking, what to lay out, what to get ready.
There's a couple different things we're doing here. As Sarah said earlier, there's desserts, there's all kinds of stuff. Great lamb chops. Want to talk about those a little bit? Then I'll go to what I'm doing.
Sure. Well, why don't you tell us what you're making first, and then
so
we'll
what
move
I'm
on.
doing is a version of caponata. And certainly, I've been known to do some traditional things, but not many. So this is a twist on it. So what I'm doing is I'm going to make a roasted vegetable caponata, which we talked about as counter food when the family shows up in the midst of this Sunday afternoon Italian-American supper. It's a tradition.
Yeah, you have to have something out for everybody to munch on.
You have some bread. This is a piece of our focaccia from Cafe Miranda, baked it
Beautiful
today.
bread.
Notice the bricks on the back.
Vanna
We'll be cutting
White
this up.
that, chef.
There
Well
it is.
done.
And we'll also patch your roof if you need to. So my dish is essentially oven roasted vegetables. So what we have here is the raw ingredients, the onions, the garlic, the zucchini, the orange, that's a different thing, the peppers, the tomatoes. And this is what they look like after you roast them up in your oven at home. And you can look at the recipe at tastemaine.com. And don't forget to donate. Did anybody say donate money?
Donate money.
Donate, that's all here, donate money.
Help us all out.
Help us all out. So we have these roasted peppers, some poblano, some red peppers, some red onions, some spinach.
This obviously, chef, looks like a good way to incorporate our love of local ingredients, right? This dish.
Absolutely.
Local?
So it's a mix.
Okay.
It's a mix. The season's winding down at my Head Acre farm. That's about a mile and a half from my restaurant. So there's some tomatoes out there. There's some beans out there. Root vegetables, certainly. So we have the eggplant. We have the zucchini. And essentially what we're going to do is basically just toss all this stuff together with some more oil, some beautiful herbs, some olives, some salted capers, some red pepper flakes, and then we're going to cut a piece of bread while you're cooking your dinner, and we can just have a little fun with this. So,
And I know
great.
on the website, just real quickly, these are each kind of roasted at their own speed, have their own individual instructions depending on which vegetable you're roasting. So tastemaine.com for all the specifics on how to make it all look like how Chef Kerry has it ready and prepared for us tonight. And Chef Ciana, let's hear what you've got lined up for us.
So this afternoon we've got for you roasted rack of lamb, and also a sort of French version of risotto, which is called Soubise. And that's basically just braised rice and onions. We use a short grain rice and let them go for a really long time so it gets nice and creamy. Then right at the end, we're going to add some pecorino romano and some roasted garlic. And it'll just be beautiful and simple. That's one of those things on the website that you can go ahead and grab that recipe and you can make it way in advance, and it will just hold so well in the refrigerator. We're just going to warm it back up today. And then we're going to serve it with this beautiful rack of New Zealand lamb. And that is going to be, again, simple and beautiful. We're just going to use a little bit of butter, shallot, garlic, and a lot of red wine. My favorite cooking ingredient, my favorite thing to drink. Here we go.
Are we going to get 2 fingers of the red wine? Like I have 2 fingers of the fennel seed here?
I don't know. I think we might get 4.
Am I getting 4th?
Yeah.
Okay, we got that.
I love Chef Kerry Altiero and all his creative ways to store ingredients, including the gloves he has here for his spices and nuts. And what are you doing right now, Kerry? What did we miss?
I'm toasting some pine nuts and some fennel seed, which is going to give us kind of a richness to it. And you know, pine nuts at like whatever, $1 bazillion a pound, just makes it, you know, flashy. Just gives it, pushes it a little over the edge. You got fresh basil, you got all that stuff in there. So with this one, you know, when I was at Hannaford yesterday afternoon, picking up all the stuff, there's something else. You know, you go to Hannaford, like, now we see all of our colleagues there because we're all shopping. We always have shopped there. 4:30 on Friday afternoon, that's where you see all your colleagues going, oh, I forgot to buy the blank. So, and now I'm seeing everybody there. So, I wanted to bring up some of the really cool stuff that you can get at Hannaford that nobody knows about. So, we have Cavender's all-purpose Greek seasoning. What could this possibly
delicious.
be? It just looks fabulous. So I just wanted you to go, when you're cruising around your local supermarket, just look at some of the crazy stuff they have in there. And we have 2 or 3 more of these to interest you. I'm burning
your
the
nuts,
stuff here.
Chef.
Don't burn the nuts here.
Yeah.
But I have a few of these things. So at any rate,
So,
go on.
Greek seasoning.
Greek seasoning, but it has nothing to do with this dish. This is just
Okay.
a groovy thing that I saw in the supermarket the other day. I went, I mean, look at the salt content. I mean,
I don't even
salt,
wanna know.
black pepper.
Let's not
You
get
got all
too
the stuff.
distracted,
Okay,
Chef.
and then
Let's
back to the
create
dishes,
some
back to the dishes.
caponata, shall we?
Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to put this one together. So first, what I need, off camera for a second, is a giant bowl.
Amazing.
Now this is, so you do all this stuff ahead of time. And we talked about in the recipe is don't crowd the stuff in the pan because you want it to be one layer so it can actually cook. And we have our roasted tomatoes.
So it's probably the roasting that's the most time consuming of this recipe, and then it's a tossed together kind of creation.
Yeah, pretty much. Now, at the wood-fired oven at Cafe Miranda, which we had the oldest wood-fired oven in the state, 1993, or at least continually operating, this roasting of these vegetables would take about 2.5 minutes before they caught on fire. But when you do this at home in your regular oven with a convection, it can take up to half an hour. So when you look at the recipe, I've told you about what to look for, not necessarily in terms of times. And then we have roasted garlic. Chef over here is going to have to work. I already did my work. We have some olives,
Oh, not all that hard.
red pepper flakes, and we're off camera. I'm going to put in some more basil and some salted capers, and we'll plate this when we're ready to go with it.
All right, amazing. So everyone, Chef Kerry is putting that caponata together. So hopefully if you're cooking along at home, you are tossing your
Don't do this at home.
your roasted vegetables
We're
the same
professionals,
as
right?
he is.
Totally.
But as Chef Ciana mentioned, there's a lot of red wine going into her lamb chops dish. So what better night to feature a wine tasting segment? And I had the pleasure of heading up to the Sugarloaf area and visiting Lulu's, Chef Ciana's restaurant, and meeting with her partner and wine specialist, Godin, to go over not only recommendations for each of our courses tonight, but to give you a little insight on how to do a wine tasting for yourself at home. So without further ado, let's throw it up to Carrabassett Valley.
Hi, all.
Hi everyone, I'm your host Sarah Taylor, and I am thrilled to be joining you out of the studio right now from the foothills of Sugarloaf Mountain, and I am joined by Godin. Laura, where are we today?
Yes, welcome, Sarah Taylor. We are here at Alice and Lulu's Mountainside, right in the base area of Sugarloaf Mountain in Carrabassett Valley.
Amazing. It is gorgeous here. It was actually snowing earlier. And of course, Alice and Lulu's is where Chef Ciana, back at the studio, is creating that amazing main dish alongside Chef Kerry Altiero. So Laura is generously offering us recommendations for all 3 courses tonight. So you can create not only tonight's mountain flavor feast, but have the appropriate wines to go along with your dishes. So they are creating, let's see.
Lots of good food.
Yeah, Chef Kerry starting with the
roasted vegetable caponata.
caponata.
Love that dish.
So let's dive right in. What
Yeah.
exactly would you put with that and why?
Yeah, so caponata traditionally really true to the regional cuisine of southern France, which is very much kind of what we focus on with Chef Ciana here in her menu. So we're doing a single varietal called Falanghina.
This is everyone see this beautiful label.
Yeah, so it is Terra Stregate, an organic selection from the Campania region, so southern Italy.
This is kind of adding some bite to those roasted vegetables.
Yeah, you're gonna find the freshness, the acid, in kind of that fruit-forward bouquet on the nose. Just marrying the flavors here. We're not looking for too much contrast, just complementing the dish.
Without further ado,
let's taste our first
We should
wine.
just jump into this. So, tasting-wise, do I swirl? Do I sniff? Do I sip?
So you can follow all the protocols. If you've already got the bottle at home,
I've seen this done.
You've seen it. You can do the fancy swirl. So, you can put your nose right in there. The idea is, put the glass right under, and you're going to just pick up those notes. You almost get like stone fruit.
Yes.
A little bit of peach.
Rich, fruity. All right, I'm
little
sipping,
bit-
guys.
This is one of my go-tos for daytime drinking. We do that a lot.
Smooth for a white, more crispy to cut through those roasted vegetables in the caponata.
Yeah.
Laura has been so nice to add, obviously, just a little throw to each of the dishes. So here's some roasted red peppers.
We don't have Chef Kerry's dish with us here.
I know.
And picture the peppers, obviously stewed, warm, seasoned. These are just roasted red peppers that have been
followed by
a little bit of that wine.
Oh, that is lovely. You can't forget that label.
Yeah, organic. It's always nice to, if you can.
So, and again, this is also noted at tastemaine.com where you can follow along with our tasting tonight, but also be creating those recipes for yourself at home with all the other mountain flavors being featured tonight. So your partner in crime, Ciana, is back at the studio creating that amazing lamb chop dish. I'm super excited to get back to Portland and try that later on. But what would you pair with that, Laura?
Yeah, roasted lamb, again, true to the region. We're kind of thinking southern France. So here we have the Domaine Cadenne Rière Via Augusta, and it is 50-50. So you've got 50% Grenache and 50% Syrah blended. And when you think of roasted rack of lamb, that gaminess, that robust. Another great selection would be La Vieille Ferme, which if you haven't heard of it, often always available on that wine shelf at your local Hannaford's. Can be the price, under $10 for the bottle. It's a gem. It's from the Southern Rhone region, family wine growers for about 40 years. I recommend get 2 bottles for that value. Get one for the sauce, which Chef will talk more about.
Red wine.
Wine sauce.
Creating some connection here between what you're drinking and what you're eating.
If you're cooking with that wine, most likely it's going to pair well as a drinking wine as well.
That makes sense to me.
So this is an awesome pour. We have a cured lamb sausage. We'll shout out to White's Farm, Maine. You'll have a little bite of that, Sarah Taylor, and then a sip.
Ooh. That's nice. Well, before I've swallowed all of it, again, this is the Via Augusta. Amazing. All right. I'm swirling. I'm sniffing.
You get a little bit of that kick in the finish. It really kind of lingers there.
Yeah, with this. Let's see.
Not as spicy as a chorizo, but can kind of give you a preview of, that roasted lamb, the wine sauce.
We are doing some cozy mountain flavors, so I would say that medium body. Perfect choice, Laura. Thank you so much. Again, 2 wines to go with the first 2 courses. And the side dish today is that roasted Brussels sprouts. Will go amazingly, I would say, with that as well.
Beautiful.
Winter is coming, folks. Great time for all these recipes, all these pairings. And we are coming up soon is the dessert segment for this meal.
So we've got a fun little dessert wine here. Shout out to a local producer trying to keep this one close to home. Celador Winery. This is their late harvest. Gris. So you can go one of several ways. It's tricky sometimes with lemon desserts because you're balancing already the tart, and then the sweet. I would recommend often a late harvest Riesling or this selection by Celador. We don't have their beautiful dessert, but we do have a bit of our house-made lemon curd.
Yeah.
Let's have that final taste.
So it's not exactly what Doreen and Amber are whipping up over at Miller.
Pick up the lemon flavor of the dessert.
Look how precious. I love it.
So this one has, a little bit of that viscous quality. You'll see what they call, the legs on the wine. It
feels a little more even like a liqueur versus a wine, just in its
almost has that cognac color, right? Golden hue. Get almost that like nectar smell.
Oh my goodness. Ooh, I can see how that would go perfectly. Nibbling on one of those lemon ricotta poppy seed bialys.
Picked up on a bit of that like orange peach and, you know, lemon and orange, Mary grape.
All these recipes, again, available at tastemaine.com. Enjoy one of these. Make yourself a board. Get creative and have a nice wine tasting yourself this winter. During all these cold months, we need to feed and take care of ourselves. And I thank you, Laura Godin from Alice and Lulu's restaurant up here on Sugarloaf Mountain. It is beautiful here in Carabasset Valley. I want to thank you so much for the time.
It's been such a pleasure.
It's been such a pleasure. And we are excited to get back to the studio and keep creating that feast that all these delicious wines go with. So without further ado, we'll throw it back down to Portland.
Cheers.
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 Cheers. Oh, it was such a joy to spend some time with Laura up at Alice and Lulu's on that snowy, stormy day. So hopefully if you are sipping along at home that you have poured whatever glass of those lovely selections she made for us to go along with tonight's Mountain Flavors meal. Again, that is starting with the caponata from Chef Kerry Altiero and Cafe Miranda. We have already got those roasted vegetables going. They've each been roasted ahead of time and now mixed together, and we will get right back to that. And obviously as well, we are featuring the lamb chops from Alice and Lulu's, where we were just able to visit there for that wine tasting. And she, of course, is presenting those along with the garlic Soubise. So again, if you're creating these dishes at home on your own, you've got those ingredients out, and you are ready to keep cooking along with us. But as we like to do on every episode, is check in on how the ReUp Maine program is doing so that we can support as many Maine restaurants throughout this series as possible. So I would love to throw it over to our president, Tristan Noyes, for an update on how it's going. Hi, Tristan.
Hi, Sarah Taylor.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, as always.
And it's my pleasure to join you every week to be able to share some happy news in our lives. And this week is no different. As you know, the Maine Restaurant Relief Fund was started in conjunction with Maine Studios, Hospitality Maine, in collaboration with our co-presenting sponsors, Hannaford Supermarkets, Bangor Savings, and a whole host of others, to be able to help restaurants with unexpected costs that have occurred as a result of the pandemic and COVID-19. So today, I get to share that we have raised $137,000 raised from our sponsors.
That's amazing.
Plus,
Money.
plus another $20,000 from individuals at home who've been watching. More than 200 of you have donated over the course of our shows, which is phenomenal as well.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
That means that we are going to be able to award 3 more $5,000 grants today, and I'm going to be able to do one in just a moment. But first, I wanted to share just a couple of really quick quotes that have come in with some of the donations that you've brought to the website at tastemaine.com. These are real quick. First, this is what Maine Grit is all about. I applaud everyone who came together to get this huge project executed. Another says, I make this contribution in honor of Vivian Champagne, a school secretary who works hard in RSU 54 Adult and Community Education.
Woohoo!
She loves all things Maine except Moxie. Sorry, Moxie. And we support locally owned Maine restaurants and wish them all the best. And then lastly, hang in there. Thanks for staying open. I want to be able to share now the first of 3 grant award recipients. This is our 13th grant that we've given. And we're moving across the state of Maine board, filling in with our dowels so that we get all the way from the west to the east. But we're going to make an exception today and head all the way to the east and award one to Washington County in Lubec, Paul Hayer at the Water Street Tavern and Inn.
All the way over here. I love it.
More to come on this tonight. Back to you, Sarah Taylor.
Thank you, Tristan, as always, for an update. We are doing incredibly, but it is time to get back to some cooking here with Chef Kerry and his caponata, and we want to dive right into the lamb chops and Soubise with Chef Ciana. So let's dive right back in, guys.
Absolutely. So what we're going to do first is we're just going to get our Soubise ready to go, because that's going to hold really well, kind of no matter how long you wait to eat it. So if Chef wouldn't mind helping me out here, we're going to give it a stir. All I've done today is add a little bit of milk to loosen it up.
It was really beautiful.
We're going to add in all of this Pecorino Romano, if you would, please.
Oh, that is beautifully grated, too.
And I've just gone ahead and squeezed out my roasted garlic. That's my secret ingredient here. We're just going to pop that in there also.
Chef.
Boom.
Oh, this looks so beautiful, and the smell is fabulous. It looks so rich. Oh, it's gorgeous, and the Soubise is going to be so delicious with this.
So then once that's all stirred in, you guys, you can just cover it up, push it off to the side of your stove, get it out of the way. Don't have to think about it again until we're ready to plate.
And again, you'd also mentioned, Chef, that the garlic Soubise in general is something you could make days in advance and just have it ready to serve with your protein.
Yep.
Love
Cook it days in advance, do everything except for adding that last bit of milk. And that last bit of milk is what you're going to use when you go ahead and reheat it. I have a little bit too much oil in my hot pan there. You really only need just a coating for the lamb. Now I'm going to let it get real hot. I'm going to season this up really quickly.
Oh, those are so beautiful. So these New Zealand lamb chops. And this is a serving for what, for 3 people, you think it is?
I think this one rack is probably good for 2 hungry people, or 3 if you maybe have a kid or somebody who's not a great eater.
Yep. And they seem so exotic, and I think what we're showing people is that this technique is not really like, it's no different than like grilling a steak on your grill.
Absolutely.
Except that lamb has this reputation of like, oh, I don't know how to cook lamb. Well, don't cook it too much.
Right, you want to cook it just like a steak. You cook it medium rare if that's how you like your steak. And it's just going to be tender and beautiful every single time.
So I'm going to dump these fennel seeds and I meant gently place is what I meant to say. And the fennel seeds and the pine nuts in my bit over here. And turn this burner on. We're going to have a little bit of fun here too. So we're doing a technique that's called searing, right?
Yep.
And what does that involve? Like what's going on there?
Well, all we're doing is applying heat in a very controlled way to the exterior of the lamb. You know, you want to sear at a high temperature, but you don't want to sear too hot.
Right. It looks great. So the rice is here. So the next part is to make the sauce in the pan with the butter and the shallots and the garlic.
Yep. This lamb will go through the oven. I'm going to finish searing it here while Chef Kerry continues to put together his carbonara. I'll put it in the oven for about 12 minutes. Then we'll pop it out, let it rest, and make the sauce right in the same pan.
Nice. Simplified recipes here, guys. Again, they are all available at tastemaine.com, where you can also donate to the Maine Restaurant Relief Fund.
Oh yeah, I think that there's one thing I do want to say. You know, when you're watching a fundraiser or something like you're doing here, we're trying to raise money for restaurants, our colleagues, to survive, not to thrive, to survive. And it's Maine Restaurant Relief Fund at tastemaine.com. But you know, when you're watching like some fundraiser and they stop and you say, well, oh, I don't want to hear about your fundraiser. I just want to like hear the news. So, you know, sometimes you just got to call up or go to tastemaine.com and donate some money. So I think right now we should just be quiet and wait till you donate.
Da, 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 da. Okay, we don't have time for
Okay,
that.
let's get back to the cooking here. Okay,
Make.
so let's get some stuff going on here, but we need you to donate so people like us, our colleagues, and you, our customers, can come back to our restaurants, come back to them now, get the takeout, do the limited indoor dining, you know, see that we're doing all the proper procedures. And actually, you know, we can have a little fun. If there's opportunity in this to revamp our business models, but we need your help. Maine Restaurant Relief Fund and our partners, New Center Maine, Hospitality Maine, our sponsors. I'm only going to do 2 sponsors at a clip, Bangor Savings, Oakhurst. And then we'll leave those around.
We'll get to the rest of them after.
Okay, so what are we doing here? What
Chef,
do you
the
think?
pan is smoking, man.
The pan is it's getting hot, you think?
I think it's getting hot.
I don't know. It's,
So what did you throw in there for folks that may not have seen at home, Chef Kerry?
That was an onion. Which way do you make these hot? This way, right?
That's as hot as it goes, man.
Okay. It's hot. That's as hot as this thing gets. Okay, we're just going to fry this onion up here and talk a little bit. So how are your lambs doing?
They're doing well. They're
So we're
not
just
quite there yet.
We're bringing color to the lamb, and then we're going to finish it in the oven. Come on.
While we do that, again, we had a wine tasting segment, folks, and I am pleased to say that the Hannaford recommendation that was offered by Laura up at Alice and Lulu's, I went ahead and got for all of us. So I'll go ahead and pour us each a taste of that as you prepare that appetizer caponata.
Can I show you something here?
Serve. Yeah.
So when you were a kid, whatever, I watched Julia Childs on TV. I couldn't wait for the flambe. For like the excitement. I'm always waiting for it. Should we do a little gratuitous flames here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Gratuitous flame time.
Gratuitous flame.
Okay, everybody like that? Okay, we got flames. Okay, that's it. We'll come back more of that stuff later. Okay.
So just to recap, Chef Ciana, I want to make sure people know exactly where they should be with the lamb, and you've added the milk, so the garlic Soubise is ready to roll,
Yep,
right?
the Soubise is ready to roll. This lamb is getting there. You can see there's still a little fat with no color on there, so I'm going to let it sear just a little bit longer. But that's pretty normal for lamb. You got to sear it a little slower because the fat really smokes out at a low temperature. So we're just going to let it roll here. I'm going to apply a little bit of pressure, not too much.
You know, it's interesting with lamb that people say, oh, I don't like lamb because it's too this, it's too that. And really, the fat in a lamb, like a lamb's body temperature is higher than yours. That's why it doesn't melt in your mouth. So this searing process and removing some of the fat on there is going to help that one along.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It's going to kind of leach out a little bit of that gaminess, and we'll get right down to the delicious meat.
Okay, let's go for something. Should we talk about?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
I've been cooking a
Chefs
long
and their
time, and I don't know
secrets.
about that. I think I'm more interested in trying your caponata than
Okay,
pork spread.
We found pork spread at our local supermarket from Lewis to Maine. We'll check it out. We don't know if it's spam-like or what. But what I'm going to do is get this caponata on the plate while you do that.
Right.
Now, always more fat. Whoa, it's opening up. Don't come out there.
Too much oil.
Okay, so more fat,
Caponata.
right?
Oh,
We have more.
there's never too much olive oil in an Italian household.
Throwing
And that
some
is
love
it.
to that Italian dish, I would say, right?
That what?
More olive oil adds to this, the Italianness of this
More
dish.
salt, more fat. More salt. Okay, so this one,
Delicious.
as we can see, is so complicated. Chef over here is doing a lot of the work. But
This is how things are done at Cafe Miranda, folks.
it's that
Bam,
gentle
bam,
placement.
out on
It
the
is that.
tray.
See, now we're going to move that around.
Chef
And we-
Kerry,
look-
I would love to try a taste of that over
I'm
from
doing
my
it.
safe, socially distant tasting area.
The orange squeeze, that makes it exotic.
Look how colorful that is, folks. Such a nice, bright dish as we're headting into these dark
Beautiful.
months of
Off to the
winter, I
oven.
Yep,
would
this
say.
lamb is off to the oven. Here we go.
Now this can be done days in advance, and you combine it right before you're ready for your meal. It can be served warm. It can be served at room temperature. It can be served cold. You could take this and toss it with some pasta for a quick pasta dish. But here we are. Here's one for Chef. Here's one over here.
A socially distant taste myself. While, of course, this is the appetizer to those lamb chops and garlic Soubise, we have an amazing side to feature to go along with this as well. And for that, we are going way up to Aquasic near the Rangeley Lakes region as we throw love to these mountain flavors
More
with
fat.
a stop at the Portage Tap House. So let's throw it up there and get those side dish ingredients ready if you're going to be cooking along with that. And we will be right back while I have a taste of this caponata. Enjoy, we'll be right back.
Thanks, Sarah Taylor. I'm Laura Reynolds here, the owner of Portage Tap House, and I'm here today with our sous chef.
Hi, I'm Taylor, and today we are going to be preparing a Brussels sprout dish that pairs so well with Carrie and Ciana's lamb dish. And the first thing that we are going to do is we're going to take a Brussels sprout and chop the stem off and then also cut it in half. So we'll start there.
And Portage Tap House is located in Aquasic, which is actually a village of Rangeley in between Moosuc Lake and Rangeley. And that's actually where we got our name, Portage, because it is actually a portage site between the two lakes and is part of the Northern Forest Canoe Trail.
All right, so these are all chopped up. This is your 1 pound of Brussels sprouts. I'm going to hand this off to Laura. She's going to go throw it in the boiling water.
All right, thank you.
So while those Brussels sprouts are boiling away, we are going to make a cocktail because we like to have a little space and make a drink while everything is cooking. So no time wasted here at Portage Tap House. So I created a cocktail called the H. It's actually named after Paul Reynolds, co-owner of Portage Tap House. And one of his favorites is Scotch. So we're going to be starting with Glenfiddich. We're going to do about 2 ounces. So in your jigger, pour 2 ounces of Scotch. It will be 3/4 of an ounce of Aperol, which is an aperitif, kind of a bitter liqueur, perfect for mixing. And finishing it off with the Lincoln and Maine's sweet vermouth. So Lincoln and Maine is in Portland, and Thaddeus St. John does a wonderful job with his vermouth. I would suggest going and checking him out. So it's going to be 1 ounce. And then just like you would be cooking, bitters are more for spicing. So we're going to use cardamom bitters in this cocktail. We're going to do about 3 shakes. So finish that up. Put it in our shaker, and we're going to shake. So what we're really looking for in that is just the ice to break a little bit, and you'll hear it. And then we'll strain it into a glass. I'm going to be making half for me and half for the boss. And we'll take our roasted caramelized orange slices, plop those right in the glass. And here we are. So Laura.
Thanks, Taylor. I always love this part of it. Cheers. Thanks for the drink, Taylor. I'm going to go strain this while you tidy up a bit.
All right, get these out of the way.
So these are now all boiled. They boiled for about 5 to 6 minutes. I've drained them and I'm putting them into an ice bath right now.
So with that ice bath, what we're really doing is we're just stopping the cooking process that the boiling did to those Brussels sprouts. But after they have cooled down, then we're going to put them in a separate bowl and we're going to add those seasonings to that.
Remember to go check out tastemaine.com where you can find our complete recipe. It is simple, but it is a good thing to find on tastemaine.com. And now we're going to take it out of the ice bath and start mixing with the seasonings.
We're going to take these, plop it in the bowl, put that aside. I'm going to put gloves on for this process. We really want to stir those Brussels around. So Laura, how do you think COVID did for us here at Portage Tap House?
Well, we actually were very fortunate and really had a good summer due to the fact that we were able to expand our outdoor dining. We really were able to keep the same amount of people serviced as we have in the past. And the Western Maine Mountains brought a lot of people away from the cities, and I think there was a large influx of visitors, which we were able to benefit from. We're happy for that.
Yes. Yes. Part of those mountains. We just love these flavors. So those mountain flavors for this episode. We really enjoy our roasted vegetables. They keep us nice and cozy in the winter.
First thing we're going to add is the garlic, which
it should be about 2 tablespoons for 1 pound of Brussels sprouts. We're just going to take a little bit of salt, just a pinch, kind of throw that around there.
With some pepper in it too, right?
With some pepper as well. All right, and then here is the olive oil. We're just going to throw that right on top of the Brussels sprouts. Make sure we cover those nicely. And then this is the part for the gloves.
Yep.
I'm going to throw this around in that bowl. And I'm sure you'd be able to find these Brussels sprouts at Hannaford, at your local Hannaford.
That's one of the benefits of Brussels sprouts. You really can find them all year round. And Hannaford does a good job of keeping some nice fresh vegetables in for us.
All right, so those are done. This is kind of what it should look like. And then we're going to go right to a baking sheet for this. Make sure you spray that baking sheet so none of it sticks. We're going to go right here. Now we want to make sure that this is nice and even and flat. All those Brussels sprouts are going to get the even cooking that we want. All right, so we're going to take our Brussels sprouts to our already preheated oven. The oven should be set on about 350. So I'll go do that.
Those look great. So we only cook them for a little bit because we're also going to put them in again with some cheese on them. This is the time where we take them and put them here in skillets, individual skillets. You can at home use any pretty dish that you have that's oven proof and put them in individual servings, or you can simply keep it on this baking pan and serve it for your whole family. All right, we now have it in the individual containers, and this is a part where my kids always like to come and pick how much cheese they put on each of their servings, but we're going to do it for ourselves here. But it is a fun way to get the whole family involved. So at Portage, we actually are fortunate to have built our whole restaurant really around this beautiful oven from Maine Wood Heat. Again, another Maine product which we were proud to support. But you don't need to have a wood-fired oven to cook this dish. You can just put this right back in the oven. But we're going to put it in this beautiful centerpiece here. Just stick it right here in as far as we can reach. And we can even push it back a little further to get it so it gets nice and crispy and bubbly on top.
So we'll just finish these Brussels sprouts off with a nice balsamic glaze. These are perfect for the winter, don't you think, Laura?
Yes, and we're really looking forward to the winter here. You guys can't see it now, but it's actually snowing out here. Snow brings great things to the Rangeley area. We're really looking forward to our snowmobile friends who are always great customers for us. And this year we are really excited that Saddleback Mountain is opening. So once again, we'll have our skiers come in. And don't forget to go to tastemaine.com to view this recipe and to hopefully donate to the Maine Restaurant Relief Fund. It's really great how they've done this to help out all the restaurants during these times of COVID.
So these are the Brussels sprouts. They are all finished. These are great mountain flavors that are going to pair well with Kerry and Ciana's dish back at the studio.
Thanks for visiting us.
Thank you, Laura and Taylor, up at the Portage Tap House in Aquasic. Those Brussels sprouts were delicious, and so was the cocktail. So whether you're enjoying some wine tonight from one of those selections from Laura at Alice and Lulu's, or the H cocktail, hope you're sipping along and having some fun. Speaking of, let's check in with our host chefs here, Chef Kerry Altiero and Chef Ciana Godin, with our dishes, and just make sure you all at home are lined up for a successful Sunday meal. Where should everyone be, guys?
Well, right over there, because you got all the good stuff.
I know,
That's who we want.
Isn't that the truth?
Well, for now, but tell us what you got going on, man.
Right now, we're just finishing up the lamb. I took it out of the oven, and it was just on the medium rare side of rare. I'm going to give it a little extra color here just to crisp up that fat, and we're going to be all set, ready to go.
All set and ready to go. And again, guys, we have started. Our appetizer here is the caponata by Chef Kerry Altiero and Cafe Miranda. Look at these bright colors, fresh roasted vegetables. Again, at tastemaine.com is where you can find the recipe for that, because he gave specific roasting love to each of the different vegetables depending on how they should be most efficiently roasted, right? Some of the homemade focaccia from Cafe Miranda, so delicious way to start your meal, like he calls it, that counter food. Everyone seems to gather in the kitchen these days, especially heading into long winter months. Keep something out on the counter, something fresh and bright and local like this. Great appetizer. And obviously we are creating the garlic Soubise. It's already done and ready. That was something you could have created ahead of time. How nice. And just add the milk to today, right, Chef Ciana?
Absolutely.
And
It's
those
delicious.
lambs have been the lamb has been in the oven,
Yep.
seared, but not quite done. So that's where you all should be as far as all those recipes. And obviously the roasted Brussels sprouts too, we just saw come out of that nice wood brick oven. We actually have a surprise, well, Kerry has a wood brick oven, and even our dessert today is coming out of a wood brick oven. So
Carbon
nice
neutral.
trending topic here is those wood brick ovens, and there's actually a great Maine company that does that. And we love local here. And speaking of local, none of what we're doing here and in our entire series would be possible without our sponsors. We thank them so much. They are supporting these Maine restaurants, just like hopefully you at home are, by going to tastemaine.com and donating today to help restaurant owners just like Kerry and Ciana here. But again, our sponsors really lift this all up to the next level. And one of those is Bangor Savings Bank. And we have with us a rep from there, Terry Trickey. Welcome to Sunday Supper.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. We appreciate it. I hear you have just a few notes on what kind of inspired you all to be a part of ReUp Maine and Sunday Supper.
Well, at Bangor Savings Bank, we're very excited to be part of this endeavor. ReUp Maine bringing so many talented chefs together. It certainly highlights just how lucky and fortunate we are to have these amazing restaurants in our communities. So, and as a local community bank, we certainly feel responsibility to help our neighbors all the time, but especially during these really difficult times. So, and being part of this production allows us to all enjoy some delicious recipes at home as we cook along at home, and also to help local small businesses at the same time.
Yes.
So.
Well, Bangor Savings Bank always is doing an incredible job of supporting us, but also in your own work. So we appreciate that all you do on the local level. I know that Cafe Miranda themselves are represented by Bangor Savings Bank. So thank you to
Thank you. Thank you.
to all your colleagues for all you do to help us out. And I hear you also have something exciting to announce on our behalf.
Oh, we totally do.
Yes.
So we are very, very excited to be able to announce the next $5,000 grant.
Woohoo!
And
Drum
that-
roll, guys.
5 big ones, 5 large,
five big
coming
ones.
your way.
And that is going to Stone Brick Oven in Northport. Yay!
Congratulations, represented here. And Terry, I don't know if you know, but that is our 14th grant we have given
Oh my
out
gosh, that is
overall.
amazing. Thank you for all
Overall.
you're doing.
thank you for all you're doing to help support us and local Maine businesses all over the state. That's why we're here, folks. It's all about going to tastemaine.com, supporting the Maine Restaurant Relief Fund, and helping us out just like our sponsors do. So I am excited to actually throw it over. We have more to cover in this episode. Like I said, we are giving you a full 4-course meal, essentially. But Terry, first, I want to make sure you try some of the nice wine. That's the La Vie Ferme, the Hannaford recommendation we've been offered tonight. And some of Chef Kerry's caponata, our appetizer.
Happy to do it.
I actually take a moment and speak with our 14th grant recipient, and that is Stacey Feeney from the Stone Brick Oven. Stacey, are you there?
I'm here.
Yay, well, welcome to Sunday Supper, and congratulations.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, we really appreciate that you applied, and hopefully some of your fellow restaurant owners to apply for the Maine Restaurant Relief Fund. But tell us, how will that $5,000 really go towards supporting your business in the coming months?
It's absolutely amazing. And I think I'm definitely still in shock. Winter can be really hard on small businesses and small restaurants. And especially if you add a pandemic to that, it's scary. And I think we're all in this business because we just have that genuine love for what we do and feeding our community. And this is definitely going to just take a little weight off our shoulders and make things a little more breathing room. And it's amazing. We're very appreciative.
We are happy to support you. So things in Northport, you've got kind of some loyal customers that have helped you get through the summer and spring.
Absolutely. We have amazing customer base, and our customers have been great. And it's definitely been a long couple, 8 months, but we love what we do, and we're happy to be here. And this is amazing.
Stacey, it is so glad to hear that. It is hearing from restaurant owners like you that we are able to support in this way that gives me the chills and gives us hope that the Maine restaurant industry will survive to live another day, right, chefs?
Oh, we will live many, many more days.
Many, many more days. And again, you can help many more Maine restaurants get over this hump of COVID by going to tastemaine.com, donating to the fund today. And also, it's where you can find all the many recipes featured tonight and during all our episodes during this series. So please have some fun cooking with your loved ones as we get through these cold upcoming months, and stay safe as you do, obviously. So I want to thank Terry Turkey of Bangor Savings Bank being here again. We are going to enjoy some more caponata and wine whilst we wait for our other dishes to be created. And of course, what meal wouldn't be complete without a dessert? For which I'm very excited to throw you right up to Skowhegan at not only Maine Grains, but their restaurant, the Miller's Table, where we will have a delicious dessert made for us by owner Amber Lamke and Hannaford's own Doreen Mills. So without further ado, let's throw it on up to the Miller's Table.
Hi, thank you. I'm Amber Lamke, and we are at the Miller's Table at Maine Grains in downtown Skowhegan. Right here on this site, we're making freshly milled grains and flour, so we'll be featuring that flour in a recipe with you today.
And I'm Doreen Mills, Hannaford chef, and can't wait to see what you mix up, Amber. So Amber and I are wearing our masks today in the kitchen because we're unable to stay 6 feet apart, but we're still excited to bring you this recipe. And Amber, I hear you're going to teach us bialys. I've never made them before.
Yes. So it's a creative spin on bialys, but we'll be taking some of our house-made pizza dough and we'll be breaking it down to show you how to make something called a bialy at home. Now, typically a bialy is, think of it like a bagel without a hole, and it has some little toppings on the top. Traditionally, that might be onions and poppy seeds and garlic and breadcrumbs. Today, we're going sweet to showcase some of the fresh-made ricotta made right here on our site and some lemon and poppy seeds.
So you can find all the ingredients at tastemaine.com. Hopefully you have them ready to go. And then Amber, just walk us through it.
Okay, so let's just start by mixing up our filling. The filling is going to be a nice generous batch. I'm assuming that people might be cooking for a family or a crowd. So it calls for 3 cups of ricotta cheese, 3/4 of a cup of sugar, the juice of a lemon, and I say that's about a tablespoon, as well as the zest of 1 lemon, 2 large eggs, and you'll save your poppy seeds for the very end. to fold them in. But you're going to take all of the first ingredients here and put them in a blender or a food processor to get it nice and smooth and creamy. Then you'll fold in your 2 tablespoons of poppy seeds at the very end. And when the filling is finished, it'll look about like this. Nice creamy filling. We've got it all ready to go.
It's amazing how creamy ricotta. Usually you see like a ricotta, you think lasagna, but this is a great way to actually incorporate it into a sweet treat. So next we have our filling ready to go. Preheat the oven time pretty much when you're cooking at home, but I mean, this is gorgeous. You have your fire, your wood fire oven here.
Really fun to work in, but we recognize that people can bake these things in a lot of different ways at home. So now we'll go ahead and set this filling aside. Doreen, if I can hand this to you.
You got it.
Then we'll move along and we'll start talking about how to prep your dough and how to do some of that dough handling at home. I've got a dough ball here that has been resting and thawing on the counter. Oftentimes you're going to buy your pizza dough from the grocery store in a frozen format. When you get that home and you're ready to cook with, you want to leave it out on the counter for about 4 hours to thaw. So I'm just going to pop this dough ball out of the bag. Our recipe says we're going to divide a dough ball into 6 pieces to make these bialys. So I'm just going to pop this dough right out of the bag. I'll give you that for the trash. Nice and supple. There's no frozen center anymore, so it's perfectly thawed.
I know, Amber, one question I get often is my friends will be like, my dough bounces back. It won't stretch and stay stretched. What can you recommend? Does it need to be warm? Does it need to be room temperature?
You want to think about dough as having a lot of elasticity. So just imagine some rubber bands in your dough. That's created by the protein and the strong gluten that's in this dough. The more you work the dough, the tighter the gluten wants to get. The more you let the dough rest, the more slack the dough will get and easier to stretch. So I want these bialys to be nice and round. You can do that with a cupped hand by rolling on the counter. I'm just paying attention to keeping my hand nice and round to give a rounded top. And I'm looking at the bottom to make sure there's no seams.
This would be a good way to get the kids involved too, right? You need them busy for a few minutes while you're doing something, go roll some dough.
We're going to move these aside. Got it. I'm just going to flour the surface a little bit here. And if you want to bring the ones over that have had some time to rest, we'll talk about how to stretch them.
Lovely. I love it.
I just like to show folks that I'm flattening them just a little bit with flat fingers. Okay, I've got a little bit of flour on the surface. I'm not going to poke this dough. I'm going to use flat fingers. And the reason is I want to slowly start to encourage a round shape. But if I poke with my fingers, I'm actually creating thin spots that when I go to stretch could actually become holes. And then I'm going to start with my edge. I'm just going to work the dough around with my thumbs. I'm just stretching. I'm just working all the way around the edge of the dough here. This little piece ends up being your finger hold once it's cooked. And it's going to hold some air bubbles. You can see one right there.
I was going to say, to bubble or not to bubble?
I am not a fan of rolling pins. I think hand stretching and exactly what we're doing here holds on to the bubbles, which are so beautiful when they bake. If I wanted it a little bit bigger, I use the back of my hand sometimes, and certainly with pizza, just to stretch that center out a little bit more.
Nice.
This is a peel, and this is going to help me deliver the bialys to the oven.
Okay.
Some people use a peel at home to deliver dough to a preheated stone inside their oven. If you don't have a peel, you can also be resting these at this stage on a piece of parchment paper.
Okay.
And parchment can go right in the oven on a pizza stone, or it can go on a sheet tray if you're going to bake them on a sheet tray.
Okay.
Okay.
Wonderful. So filling, do we do that now?
We will be doing that now, yes. I'm going to use the peel to deliver the bialys to the oven, so we'll get that set up.
Okay.
So this is that peel that we were mentioning. For my purposes today, I'm going to use a little bit of semolina flour on the peel. You can use rice flour, you can use cornmeal, but basically it acts like little ball bearings. And the semolina is going to help me just pitch these bialys right off the peel into the wood-fired oven. All we're going to do is just take a little tablespoonful of the filling. And
now, unfortunately, we got raw eggs in this, right? So can't do a little.
That's right. There are raw eggs in it.
Gotta remember.
We've prepped it ahead. We've had it refrigerated. We're just going to put a little dollop in the center of each of our bialys here.
Beautiful, beautiful.
If you're baking these at home and you have a pizza stone, you might deliver these to a pizza stone right on the stone itself. If you want to use a sheet tray, you could deliver them to the sheet tray on parchment paper. Okay, great, Doreen. We're just pulling the last one out now. And, I encourage folks at home to bake them to the level of crispness or brownness they're comfortable with. They're really hot and steamy right now, so we'll give them just a second before we dust them with confectioner sugar. 8 to 10 minutes in the oven, again, just till they start to rise and color on the edges.
They look amazing. Thank you, Amber. What do you think? Cool enough? Add a little confectioner
I think
sugar?
these are looking cool enough. I think a little dusting of confectioner sugar will top this off just right, and then they'd be ready to enjoy.
Oh my goodness. And again, too, with the bialys, it's great to do it sweet, like we've done it. You can also do them savory, but a great way of using dough. Who would have thought, right?
All right, Doreen, we should really cut into one of these and let you try.
So, yes, please. I'm so excited. I can't, you hear the crunch and the crisp at the bottom.
There you go. We'll give you the first
Thank
taste.
you. Here, I'm going to be a little, try to be COVID safe. Give it a try.
Wish we could send some of these back to the studio, but you'll have to check out the recipe at tastemaine.com.
These are fabulous. Thank you so much, Amber, for having us.
Thanks for being here.
Cheers.
Thank you, Amber and Doreen. I can personally attest to how absolutely delicious those bialys are. So if you're not cooking along with us tonight, I highly recommend checking out that recipe at tastemaine.com, as well as all the other many recipes for tonight. And go ahead and donate while you're there to support Maine restaurants. Again, recipes just from tonight are including the appetizer, that caponata from Chef Kerry, Cafe Miranda up in Rockland. It is here, it is colorful, it is beautiful. Serve it with your favorite focaccia. Go get some fresh made focaccia from Cafe Miranda if you're in the Rockland area. Also, we have going the garlic Soubise and the lamb chops, which we will finish up in just a moment. Can't wait to take a bite of that. We even did a side today. You've got roasted Brussels sprouts, and don't forget there's that H cocktail if you're not sipping wine along with us tonight, including those recommendations from Alice and Lulu's. And that dessert we just saw, the bialys. So lots to cover, all at tastemaine.com, and including things to cover, we have one more grant recipient to announce tonight, and I have the honor of doing that. And again, these are randomly chosen by our partner, Hospitality Maine's Educational Foundation, and we thank them so much for their efforts on our team as far as this project is concerned. And they randomly drew a good friend of the studio. And so drum roll, our third tonight and 15th grant overall goes to Ralph Smith in Boothbay Harbor at the Boathouse Bistro.
Hey, Ralph. Yo, Ralph. How you doing, bud?
And again,
Doing good. We're doing great.
We've got Ralph from Boothbay Harbor. Ralph, it is such a pleasure to see you. It's been a long time. And
Thank you. Thank you. It has been a long time. Too long.
Too long. We work with Ralph on several of our events here at the studio, but I am so glad that you applied for this fund and so glad that you were randomly chosen. So congrats. Tell me what's going on in Boothbay Harbor and how this will help you out.
Well, just like everybody else, this has been an unprecedented summer, 8 months for everybody, not just summer. Ups and downs summer, basically. It was crazy. We're still fighting it. The bistro is still open 7 days a week doing lunch and dinner. The grant was a great surprise. Numbers are way down and money's coming in as a grant is awesome. It's like a free week's pay for my staff. It's really quite wonderful and humbling, and we're very thankful.
Oh, well, Ralph, you're more than welcome, and I know personally how well you take care of your staff and how much you appreciate them. So we are so thankful to be able to get you through one more week of supporting them as well. So congratulations again, and it is super good to see you, Ralph. Best of luck. Yeah, best of luck up in Boothbay Harbor heading into winter.
All right, Ralph.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll see
Later,
you,
bud.
Ralph.
Always
And there's folks, we got to plate those lamb chops, get back to that. So chefs, tell us what is left to do on these dishes.
Well, all that's left for me in this lamb is to make the sauce. The sauce, you want to start with your shallots and garlic in the fat from the lamb, and you want to do it over low heat. You want to get this nice, beautiful caramelization, really like a little bit crispy, but not super crispy, and just grab all the flavor out of those shallots and garlic. And now if you want to avoid what Chef Kerry did with our flaming pan of the gods there.
Even though he did it on purpose.
Even though he did it on purpose and in a safe way. We're just gonna take our pan off the heat, add that red wine there.
See, you can do this slowly.
And then we're gonna put the pan back on the heat, crank up the fire, let that reduce. Not too far, but just a little bit.
I believe, Chef, again, as mentioned in the wine tasting segment, that you're using a similar red to one of the reds that were recommended to kind of tie this meal all together?
Yes, absolutely. Yep. The thing here, though, is to really realize that you don't have to use great wine in cooking. In fact, I kind of think it's a shame. So you want to go with a similar style of wine, but buy the one in the box, not the one in the bottle.
You know, it's the same thing like when somebody's cooking with bourbon, I'm like, oh, skip that angry pan and just drink the bourbon. You know, and we should go back to some of our partners, Hospitality Maine, English Godin Bank, Cross Insurance, to say thank you very much for supporting us, supporting this whole initiative. Calm down over here. Stay over there. Chef's cutting the lamb chops. This is something, again, this is not an inaccessible dish. This is something easy. It's as easy as essentially grilling a burger or a steak. That's
Absolutely.
what you got to do. And the pan sauce is not complex at all. Again, oh yeah, other sponsors. Let's see, Oakhurst, Hannaford. Who else is out there helping us? Sarah, Maine Studios right here. The opportunity we've had to put this on, to reach out to our colleagues, to reach out to businesses that are really supporting this. TasteMaine.com. You should donate. We need your money now.
And while, Chef Ciana, while you go ahead and get some tastings plated for us, why don't you let us know, you're up there in the mountain communities, winter is coming. Are you eager to see what the winter months will bring? But I know there'll still be challenges this year.
No
the
kidding.
truth is that I worry about it every day.
Yeah.
Every single day I go to my kitchen and I cook and we serve people and we love doing it, but the truth is we don't know what the winter's gonna bring. So as a seasonal business that really depends on making our money in that ski season, we're just, saying prayers as much as we can and trying to make it happen. And we'll roll with the punches as much as we have to, but that's all we can do.
And that's what
we're making it work.
And this program is doing that. It's showing that we need you, that you're our customer. We need you guys. We're here for you. We're here for our employees that need these jobs that you support us to. We have a hard road ahead of us for maybe the next year, and we'll be back. This will pass. Things will, in fact, get different. So thank you for supporting us. Thank you all of our sponsors, Sarah, Maine Studios, Bangor Savings Bank. I got to go over here and eat this. Get out of here. I'm going over here.
It takes a village. And
Give me a shovel.
One thing that is so special about the TasteMaine.com, but just being in the state of Maine itself, is that we support each other. It is a community effort. It often takes a village. So it is shows like this. It is other programs out there that need to support Maine restaurants. Do your part. Get takeout from your favorite place every week, even though you could cook for yourself at home. Look at these recipes, but also think about stopping by and getting one of your old favorite dishes from a restaurant you would typically sit down and eat at. So I am so excited to taste some of this, Chef. And in the meantime, folks, we'll be back already next week with our next episode.
Absolutely.
And that is going to be featuring the Lewiston Auburn area, actually, which we are calling the Local and Abundant Lewiston Auburn. So that's next Sunday. Get your friends together, have a Zoom party, plan this week, go on TasteMaine.com, check out the recipes for next week and get your ingredients ahead of time. So you can cook along and have some fun with us if you weren't able tonight.
Look at this.
Or did tonight and are just super excited to try it again. So we've got lamb chops with a garlic Soubise and that red wine sauce to match our La Vieille Ferme recommendation amongst the other recommendations by Laura at Alice and Lulu's.
I'm pulling the pants off.
We covered a side, an app, a dessert today, tons of coverage. So TasteMaine.com, folks. You can support Maine restaurants all week. You can find these recipes whenever. And we are about to taste some of that. Thank you to Terry Tricky of Bangor Savings Bank. I'm going to come over and just grab one, Chef.
Get in there. Do it.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful, Chef.
And socially distant, I just have to have a taste. So let's have some of that lamb. Oh my gosh, it's going to fall off the bone and make a mess. A messy meal is the best meal, folks. So again, next Sunday, please come back and check us out at TasteMaine.com. 5 o'clock next Sunday, we'll be featuring the Lewiston Auburn area. But in the meantime, I want to thank Chef Kerry Altiero, Cafe Miranda, Chef Ciana Godin of Alice and Lulu's Mountainside.
Donate.
Right at the base of Sugarloaf. This lamb and garlic Soubise, Oh my gosh, delicious. Sip it with the red wine, take it to the next level. Enjoy this time at home with your loved ones, folks. Be safe, be well, and gosh, we hope we'll see you next Sunday at Sunday
cheers
supper.
to all of you,
Cheers.
to all of our colleagues, to everybody who's going to make it through to the other side. Thank you for your help.
From the mouths of the restaurant owners themselves, cheers, and we'll see you next week.
Sante.
Gosh, this is good.